It's Thursday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Nima Alaja, Nima Akasha. This is our year of Hajj. Inshallah.
Hajj should call me. I'm desiring it already, but I wish it to call. So most people go on Hajj, but Hajj calls you. There's a time for it. So I want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you to all of the people that called and, you know, everybody that sent messages and prayers.
Me too.
Fran was really excited. My phone was just ringing non-stop. I tried to sleep a while before we started the whole preparation, but it didn't stop. So I went into the kitchen with love in my heart, and I was able to hit it. Sometimes you do fry. I don't get jollof rice easily. I can do any other meal quickly, but jollof rice, I have to sit on it. But yesterday, love in my heart with less sleep and praises. I was just doing Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Came out so nice. My neighbors were like, you let us cook rubbish for Christmas. Are you all right?
Nice, fantastic.
You know, it was really nice. And then the message, she learnt it. I was glad when she answered my sister that in my house, we do our birthdays just 4 of us. And my dad, myself, and my brother, and my mom. And that's been the message I've been trying to teach them. That it has to be intimate.
That's good.
Message and love.
How are you doing, Tokwe?
I'm very good.
Now you and Mariam are twinning on jury.
I've ordered this was safe. So I'm going to twin in on that one. I'm very good. I'm one of the aunties that did not call Gufran to wish her. And then the kids would actually have loved to say happy birthday to Gufran. We didn't do that, so we shall do a belated birthday shout out. But I have been doing sales, though. People will now say they did not know that we are selling property at very, 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 very affordable rate. And with flexible payment. But it's just 2 more days. So it is 2 more days to the end of the sales. I've been shouting since December last year. I did not shout it here, but now I've come to shout it. If you cannot come back and tell me, I did not know that I can deposit and spread payments interest-free. Yes, you can. That you can get discounts. Yes, you can. You can buy 6, get 1 free. Yes, you can. You can buy 2, get 1 free.
I'm fine, thank you. So me, I'm the good auntie that called Gufran. And the children, we spoke to her. And then we now use the opportunity to reminisce on my son's 10th birthday as well, you know.
Nice.
But I was just thinking, you know, yesterday when you were taking the papers, you were saying that we haven't talked about Pele. And then I also said we haven't talked about Barbara Walters.
Yeah.
You know, and Moray has said it many times that for her, the idea and, you know, she was greatly inspired by Barbara Walters. And I feel that we should learn to appreciate people who have sort of led the way and, you know, make it a culture. Yeah. So I guess at the table, I'll leave it to Moray to do it properly. But, you know, I just also wanted to appreciate
thank you, Spirit. It makes a whole lot of sense because the reason why I posted it also, but I should have actually mentioned it on TV, that this show was created after I had watched Barbara Walters. I was in the US then when it started in 1996. I saw the promo for it to start. I saw the very first show, and I was stuck on it till I left that country. And I mean, she was such an inspiring journalist. She was a mother. She was a leader. She was somebody that a lot of people thought was pioneered a lot of in-depth conversation with top leaders, and it was really. I was pained that she died, but she died at the ripe age of 93.
Right. Yeah,
that's a life well spent. So happy that he's able to take the show and replicate her concept to be your view today that Nigerians are benefiting enormously from.
Yeah.
For my own banter.
Yes.
I went to the bank. How many minutes do I have?
Please use it.
So the banks. I had my PA go to the bank. I got a money from a client, and I removed all the mutilated notes. Very dirty. I mean, I need sanitize after this. So they're mutilated, right? But the bank said they don't take mutilated notes. I was shocked because I thought if you had bad notes, you take it to the bank to change. So I was asking the lady, am I supposed to throw this? But CBN said we're not allowed. So I went there myself to ask the manager. I was speaking to the manager. Polaris actually just next door. And the lady was telling me, you cannot collect these notes. They are mutilated. CBN has said that we should not collect these notes, that they cannot. I'm like,
CBN,
so am I supposed to trash it?
House.
Yeah, CBN, please.
We slice
Your
our
view
notes
is
and
asking you this
that
morning,
comes with it.
what shall I do with these notes, right? Trash them in the dustbin?
Tender.
Because it's a legal tender. You can see it's not fake.
Banks are
It's not
supposed
fake, oh.
It's
the
mutilated like
commerce,
quite
the
all
small
right.
commerce that we did in secondary school, banks receive these notes.
Yes,
They then take it to the CBN.
For
The
it to be
CBN
trashed.
alone
Yes.
have the right to destroy
Simple.
bad notes.
So
he
maybe-
has a channel that he goes through.
So maybe Police Polaris
should
Bank that is
have
not
a
getting
channel.
the... I'll
no, maybe
post
because
it
they
on
have
social media.
issue of
I
sins.
see a
As in,
video
you
about
put
it. Yeah, so that I'll tag Polaris and I'll tag CBN. Please come and answer also because I don't know where I should put this note. I should put it in the
Small
dustbin.
commerce we do. Come and teach us.
Okay,
maybe we do not
let's
know
go on a
French.
break. When we come back, we go to the front pages of the paper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Shut down Kano. Ex-Lagos governor promises to serve Nigerians. NUPEG threatens strike. Wike confident of victory for his preferred presidential candidate. Government targets 8.2 trillion naira from non-oil sector. Air Force deploys branch chiefs, AOCs. NDDC barred from awarding contract above limits. Akinjide Oyelese Bolarumi in work for Atiku. CBN 1.35 trillion. Polaris Bank sale most competitive offer. Oh, that's true. Okay. Which story are we starting with?
Major headline. So yesterday it was a carnival in Kano State as people trooped out. So it was like, I love the way the Nation put it. It said supporters trooped to the ancient city like pilgrims. And the pictures, the videos, they said that people everywhere you could turn, there were people all around Kano. The campaign, that's the presidential campaign for APC, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as well as his his running mates, were both at the Aminu, let me get the Kano, at the Aminu Kano Stadium. They also mentioned many other state governors were also there. A lot of big-wig politicians were there, and the average Nigerian within the area, the Keke Napep artisans, riders, different support groups, all of them showed up to support the candidacy of the APC, APC presidential candidates in Kano. They said there was traffic, but it looked like it was well attended.
Yeah, the governor of Rivers State, Yeson Wike, yesterday at the flag off of the construction of a road, Akpabu Egbeda Omoku Road. I'm so sorry. It says Egbeda, and I'm wondering, is it the same Egbeda? But of course, this is in Rivers State. And while he was there, he talked about the fact that, you know, they were not supporting the candidate for the PDP, the presidential flag bearer for the PDP. And he says that he's still waiting, that instead of getting into the back and forth with those who are insulting him concerning his lack of support for their PDP candidate, he is just making sure he puts everything together towards the support of his yet-to-be-announced candidate. He says whoever he supports will end up winning the election. And he's saying that for all those that are insulting him, you cannot even get up to... See, some of them who do not have 25 votes are busy abusing leaders. When you finish abusing leaders, right, you will pay. So he's just saying that as of now, we still don't know who his preferred candidate will be, but he's saying he's doing everything to mobilize for the support of that candidate. He'll finally
Tom has come out to say he's supporting LP, so maybe the G5 have different people they're supporting.
We don't know.
I was going to take the NDDC. So the Loretta Onoche-led Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC board, was inaugurated yesterday by the Niger Delta Minister, Omana Okun Omana. I was saying that they're not there to go and start awarding contracts to beyond a certain threshold. They are there actually to maintain, the new management must abide by the operating financial regulations to ensure prudence in the management of the resources, and also he urges them he urges you to shun the impulse for the award of spurious and indiscriminate new contracts and suggests that you instead focus on the completion of ongoing projects. And even if they're going to award at all, it can't award a certain threshold. So I'm happy that NDDC board has been finally inaugurated, and hopefully, I know a lot of eyes will be on NDDC now, but we'll see how that plays out as the months come along.
So, Madam of the Federal Ministry of Finance have done a breakdown of how we're financing our budget, and I'm happy that we are doing well with our non-oil sector. She's projecting 78% of the finances to come from the non-oil sector, which amounts to about 8.2 trillion for the total revenue that they are estimating. And the oil sector is just going to be giving us.
So she's projecting, meaning that she's hoping.
No. Based on how they performed last budget,
okay.
they're projecting how the finances will come and what they're generating. So the revenues that will come mainly from the non-oil sector covers over 78% of the budget. What do you mean?
That's informed projections. So
yes.
I hope that...
then the 2.2 trillion, which is supposed to come from oil sector, that's what they're planning. So oil sector used to be our dominant contributor. But because of the subsidy we are paying, which she is already saying that we need about 3.3 trillion.
We're still paying for subsidy.
This for just 6 months into next year to pay for subsidy. So that also is being budgeted for. And then the balance of 11.34 trillion will be gained from collected from borrowing again. So we're still going to be servicing debt and borrowing again. So
okay, the Punch. This goes hike electricity tariff secretly. Consumers kick. Elections. INEC set aside 8,808 beavers as backup. Sex from principal denies cover-up, suspends 6 students. 2.74 trillion naira security budget low, says reps. Fuel marketers boycott private depots. I don't understand why assassins killed my brother, his wife and son, slaying CBN workers' sibling. NNPC prospects oil for oil in Niger and Borno. 25 buyers invited for Polaris Bank sale, says CBN.
Okay, I'll take the Federal Government College Ijaniki story. I know a lot of us have already heard, some of the allegations about students who abscond from school and go and have sex romps in hotels, and the school was able to pick the students up, and some were expelled while others were suspended. But the school is speaking up and denying some of the allegations. It says, first of all, the school, because it was alleged that the school was trying to cover up this thing that happened, and the school is saying that there was never a cover-up. After all, they're the ones that informed parents about it, and so the parents were being, mischievous by suggesting that the school was trying to hide it. After all, they were the ones that found these children. They had done a spot check on a Sunday and realized that some children were missing. They even called their parents to find out if those children were at home, and the parents said they were not. They came to the school, and somebody was able to tell them that they had gone somewhere, and that even there was another session where some of their kids would go off to a club, and they had been in talks with that club, and they had their pictures and names, and that club was able to tell the school when those children arrived there, and they took the children away, and those ones prefects were debarred and also suspended and were allowed. They said also there's no case of someone getting pregnant. We heard that someone had gotten pregnant from this alleged romp, but they said that no one had gotten pregnant except for a blind student who, during the COVID, that's outside school, got pregnant, and she was expelled from school because they said they are raising young girls and not mothers-to-be. So they're just saying that, the story out there where it looked like the school was negligent is untrue.
All right, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue with our reviews. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing points. I was going to take the INEC story. You want to take a story? Let me take the INEC story. So INEC was informing Nigerians that they have received the last batch of the Beavers machines. If you recall, Beavers is going to be the machine, the Biomodal Voters Accreditation Scheme system machine that will be deployed nationwide for voting. So according to them, they have about 176,846 polling units across the country. But this additional 8,809 will be deployed to the registered areas. as backups. So, for example, if any beavers malfunctions, there'll be 2 per region or per registration area as a backup to give to any polling unit that's having machine malfunction. So they received that yesterday, and they're happy. And according to them, they've also established units at the airports, 4 airports in Abuja, Port Harcourt, Lagos, and Kano. And according to them, they have airport hubs. So that's where these beavers will be delivered to, and then further transferred to other states as required.
So I want to take the major headline, the discourse. So this Punch report has caught up with, you know, how service and tariff hikes have happened. According to the report, quietly, silently but surely, discos have increased their tariffs per unit on the prepaid meters, and I have an experience on the estimated bills. And they took an inventory from Abuja Disco, all the discos around. In Lagos, for instance, a user said that is now 72.2 naira per unit, as opposed to the 66 naira per unit. And NARC did not announce any increase, but the discos just silently continue to increase amidst poor services. That's the one that is paining me. And what I experienced, I have a business place that is on the estimated bill for now. I'm trying to get a prepaid meter for it. And I used to pay like initially 6,000 because whether power comes or not, it's mostly on gen. All the machines I use are on generator, on fuel. And they suddenly increased it to 15,000 a month. And that month, there was really no light. So we're looking to invest in solar now immediately to remove ourselves from these services. You cannot continue to do things like this. I hope the NERC reads this report across board, all the accounts of people, fact-check it and do something about it.
Okay, moving on to Daily Sun. Nigeria's debts may hit 77 trillion naira by May 2019. May 29, 2023. Now, the Kano's family cries out, expresses concern over his continuous detention. 2023 budget, 3.36 trillion naira earmarked for fuel subsidy raises dust. Ngige tackles Obasanjo for criticizing Buhari in letter to Nigerians. Assets declaration, court bars DSS, police, CCB from probing INEC chair. PDP leaders intensify moves to pacify G5 governors. 1999 Constitution would guarantee emergence of credible leaders, says Afe Babalola. And Enugu's oil producing status, my biggest joy is that my successor will excel, says Gunwayi. Okay, which story are we starting with in Daily Sun?
Let me take the fact that our fuel scarcity challenges might be worsening. So the petrol tanker drivers, as branch of the NUPENG, has said they've threatened that they are going to go on strike. And the reason for their strike is because they allege that security agencies have been they've been brutal to their members. And they mentioned the names of the people, that the only condition they will not go on strike is if commensurate compensation is paid to their affected members. These are people that they felt that the drivers of 2 trucks that were polite in offering necessary documents to officers who stopped them to ask them for documents, later were now found to, they said there was squabble between the police officers as well as the NUPENG, PTD NUPENG members that led to one person being killed and the truck was burnt down. There are several other cases that were listed, but now they have threatened strike. And I really know that the government tends to respond to anything that has to do with NUPENG, so I'm sure there would be a quick response to this, but the government has been slow when it comes to fuel scarcity. So I hope that the distraction of election doesn't take all our politicians' mind away from the fact that the country still needs to run between now and where the election will take place. Please, let's resolve this issue before they actually down tools.
Okay, so Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has cancelled, throw out all the trumped-up allegations about false asset declaration against the INEC chairman. So some people had gone to court against the INEC chairman, insisting he had falsely declared his assets. And they were asking that the DSS, the CBB, and all the other investigative bodies do the needful. And people allege also that this was to kick him out of office just before the election so that destabilize everything. But the judge sitting in Abuja said all the 14 prayers in their petition thrown out, none of them were able to substantiate. He validly declared his assets, and the court found it to have been validly declared. and that his assets were also legitimately his, and that there are no issues there. So I think we are clean and clear on the INEC chairman.
Nnamdi Kanu's brother, Prince Emmanuel, has cried out, saying that why is this sudden silence from the Southeast governors? According to him, there's a court ruling to release Nnamdi Kanu, but unfortunately, federal government has yet to release Nnamdi Kanu in spite of the judgments by the court. He also said that he's saying, why is everybody quiet even after the Imoya federal court has asked for the immediate release of his brother, saying that all the governors in the Southeast seem to be too quiet on this, and they are not obviously relaying the messages as agreed, because according to him, Nnamdi Kanu had agreed to drop the agitation once for restructuring, and that hasn't been relayed to the federal government and is causing a lot of rift. And he's saying that he's insisting that he should release his younger brother, Nnamdi Kanu, and that the governors in the Southeast are not being sincere in the support for Nnamdi Kanu. That's me paraphrasing. Moving on quickly now to Vanguard. We have been borrowing to fund petrol subsidies, says Finance Minister. Anger, caution as FG inaugurates NDDC board. 5 yet killed as carnival turns bloody in Ondo. Tinubu, I'll bring peace, harmony to Nigeria if elected. DSS arrests ISOP commander, one other for Kogi bomb blast. OPS rejects finance bill, says business woes will worsen. And new COVID-19 warrants variants not in Nigeria, says NCDC. Okay.
So let me take the major headline. The Minister for Finance, Mrs. Zainab Ahmed, said yesterday that the federal government has been borrowing to fund the subsidy. She mentioned that it is not sustainable, that the subsidy regime has been was extended for 18 months. It will end by June, extended till middle of 2023, based on that extension that it was given, and that was 3.36 trillion was provided for the petrol subsidy. And after then, it will probably have to go, according to her, because it is not sustainable to continue like this. I just really wish that the president kept to his statement that they were going to remove the petrol subsidy, but now they are pushing it to whoever becomes the next president will have to deal with the backlash that will come from this. But let's manage as we're doing.
Yeah, NCDC, that's our Nigeria Center for Disease Control, is saying that COVID-19 Omicron and its sub-lineages are partly responsible for the current increase in cases in China, the UK, and the US. And it said that they're seriously monitoring, cases, and they haven't seen any of those particular variants in Nigeria as of yet. And they also mentioned that those restrictions, those travel restrictions that were placed before request for PCR negative tests, for incoming travelers, that those ones had little or no effect on preventing global and national circulation of Omicron, because it had a very short incubation period. But that their eyes, they're working on the surveillance, and as of the time of this report, they haven't detected anything yet. I know some other countries are beginning to wear their face masks again. Maybe we should just start doing that and just than to just say that it would not work. Those restrictions, I think we should still put those restrictions and then go back to wearing our face masks.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you. Nigerian.
Nigerian Tribune. Presidential candidates, local peculiarities to affect G5 governors' choices. 20 rice farmers feared death in Kebbi boat accident. How a medical doctor was killed while attending to patients in Delta State. Nobody took that story. 1999 Constitution won't guarantee emergence of credible leaders, says Afe Babalola. New Finance Bill, National Assembly approves 3-year imprisonment, 10 million naira fine on corrupt public officers. And Nigeria's debt may hit 77 trillion naira, says DMO. All right, I was going to
I want to take the rice farmers on their way from, according to the DSP, Nafiu Abubakar, who is the spokesperson in Kebbi, police spokesperson in Kebbi, he confirmed that, the accident of a boat that capsized with 100 passengers inside. They called it a rickety boat, and it was carrying rice farmers from Samanaji to a riverine community around Kebbi to a place near Kebbi, and the boat capsized. 80 people were rescued alive. 10 were found dead, and others have not been found. we were able to find 4 female corpses and 6 male corpses. And most of them were young rice farmers on their way. I wonder, this is not the first time we take it, and they always call the boats rickety. The state governors around Niger, can you people invest in proper boats? Can they have private people come the way they are doing now in Lagos, between Ikorodu and Island, and have people invest? Because that's the major source of transportation in that area. I know all the time my rice miller always tells me they are coming from Kebbi on the boats. Sometimes they have to pay taxes. So we know that, you know, using the river is something that is a known practice. You can invest in it and protect people's lives.
Okay, so the National Assembly has finally approved 3 years imprisonment and 10 million naira fine for any public officer who is in the discharge of his or her duties, awards or signs any contract without budget provision, administrative approvals, and procurement plan. Now, according to Vanguard, this is a boost for anti-corruption drive. But many Nigerians will probably think, this is not enough. 3 years, how long is 3 years? 10 million naira is probably nothing to somebody who's already corrupt. So if we want to take anti-corruption seriously, we need something more stringent, I would think. That's my own view of this. But any other story in Tribune? That's all we can take. On front page review, China did something worse. I think countries like, you know, if you really want to fight corruption, you gotta just take the bull by the horn. All these 3 years in jail,
that were calling Nigerians will even agree.
10 million naira fine. Those things don't do anything for anybody. That's all we can take on front page review. When we come back, it's Thursday. Talk about family, life, and relationships. A few stories caught our attention over the weekend. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, this is one of those difficult shows to do because as a parent, and I think Nima always tells us that you don't get your scorecard until your children are grown and done. And the story about the sex romp that happened in Federal Government College Ijaniki was quite hot in the past few days. Now, for those of you that have no idea what we're talking about, let me give you a summary. So, the Punch gathered that students who were all boarders at Federal Government College Ijaniki had on different occasions jumped the school's fence with their female counterparts and stayed out of school for days. According to them, the findings revealed that these children were between the ages of 14 and 17. It was learned that there were about 5 females and 7 males, and they've been leaving school unnoticed for months. This is not the first time. I think it was the second or third time it was happening. Now, when this happened, they were engaged in threesomes, heavy use of drugs like codeine, Molly, amongst many others. One of the girls got pregnant. I think that's how the story leaked and everybody found out about this. Obviously, parents have spoken up saying that they blame the school for negligence. There are so many angles to this. Some are blaming the school. Others are blaming the parents. Others are blaming the system. You know, the fact that codeine and all these drugs is readily available for kids to buy. The accessibility for pornography. Many of these children also have access because for what they're doing, for the acts that they were caught doing, shows that many of them have been exposed to pornography. So there's so many angles. We can look at this at about 10 different places. Where do we start from? What are your thoughts? You can call the numbers on your screen on 081-270-53687, 091-390-7694. You can also tweet us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweet. This act has happened, and as we always say, we're learning from situations that happen because we're hoping to prevent it. What are the lessons we can learn? Is it from the part of access to pornography? Is it for access to the drugs, the NDLA? Is it the teaching our children certain things? Is it the school taking precaution? What exactly do we do? How do we start?
Let me just say, just to reiterate the denial by the school. So the school is denying that there was any drugs involved. And also when you mentioned this sex romp was done in a hotel outside the school premises. And also the allegation where the school was negligent, was not aware. The school says they were the ones that were first to discover that these children had been absconding, and then they let the parents become aware of the situation. So that's the school stance. But, you know, I know how shocking this sounds, and it is shocking, but it's not something that is new. I know that maybe with social media, TV, newspapers now, we get to see it on the front pages of the paper. But there have always been children who behave that way. Even when I was in school, we had kids that would abscond, that would jump the fence. You know, so this has always happened. And it's not the time to throw blames. I think it's now the time to just really sit down as parents and teachers to see how this gets better. Because with this particular story, the school is saying, how are they supposed to handle children who are already spoiled from home? You know, that the school can only do so much, where when they catch a badly behaved child, they report to the parents. But that, and they gave a particular example of a girl who had over ₦1 million in her account. And for them, they say that that girl obviously had been involved in maybe sex for money long before now. That how is that the school's fault? This is something that she may have learned from home. We can't keep doing this. We need to understand that we're partners in this. If a school reports something to the parents, parents need to sit down with schools to see what's the best way forward. There's the school also denied that someone got pregnant as a result of this. So they're saying that did not happen. And the only case of pregnancy that happened outside the school as well. Our children understand when, you know, we can run to the parents and say something against the school. If they see that we're not putting our heads together, they will do things that, you know, will pit us against each other, and then we forget to discipline them. Schools have also been saying this, and I'm hearing it more and more, where they feel that parents are standing in the way of proper discipline of their children. So we are saying we want to raise our children differently. We want you not to beat our children. We don't want you to kill their self-esteem. But schools are also saying that we're doing it almost too much to the point that they're unable to give them even the basic discipline. I think we have to just sit down at the round table and discuss exactly what we want for our children. Teachers and parents going forward.
Well, I mean, I don't know if Nima wants to jump in here. What are your thoughts on this, initial thoughts on this?
Okay, so this is very scary, but this is not something that we don't expect in our today's world, where we have, you know, sort of giving names to every form of discipline. If the teacher reports a child, she's gossiping your child, your neighbor reports your child, or they're abusing your child when they discuss your child, or, you know, sort of call out your child for something wrong. And because we've given it so many names, there's a private school somewhere in Festac where this happened in the past, where the students confronted the teacher, insulted the teacher, almost beat up the teacher, made videos of them, and at the PTA meeting, their parents justified the act of their children, saying that, you know, they are entitled to their phones, entitled, you know, and you imagine such parents. They had so many big grammar for child psychology, child plenty things like that, that, you know, just sort of justifies it. And people like us that don't know so much English and psychology just kept looking at it. Is it not a bad thing, again, when a child does such a thing? Because, you know, to allow such things empowers the child. And then when this happens, parents now come out and say it's the school's fault. Parenting is still your core job, even if it is a boarding school. The values you forget to put in your child from home will eventually turn out to the things like this. So I went to secondary school where people were already jumping fences. I joined one day when King wanted to land all of us because the soldier was coming. Me too, I did not even believe the strength. I used to jump the fence. When I landed the other side, I remember the value from, if something were to happen to me on that side, the beating that they were extended at home. I jumped back to come and face the one that I was running from, to chop it like that. Because I cannot imagine my parents adding to the beating I was already getting in school. So sometimes these things happen. But the kids, they will remember those values. And you just for language, English speaking.
All right,
our parents would know.
Let me come to talk with, because see, I want us to look at this from different angles. And the reason why I say that is because these kids today are exposed to so much content on social media. These are kids on TikTok. These are kids having access to adult content. These are kids interfacing with their counterparts abroad. a 14-year-old American child is probably already having sex. I mean, I'm not generalizing, but just saying a lot of kids who have this exposure of, or parents and American parents who see a 16-year-old with a boyfriend and jump with them kissing, and for them it's like, okay, sorry to bug into your privacy, that kind of thing.
At 14.
I'm wondering, 16, I mean, these things happen. We see it in the movies and we see it in the real life. So these are people that have friends and cousins coming from abroad, having conversations. So it's like Nigeria is caging their expression, like these values, these morals that we keep talking about here. You know, we're like the last culture standing in the world. You know, we have held on so much to our moral values that the whole world is saying, what's wrong with these Nigerians? They're just too over the moralistic, when the world has already liberated young people. They are doing all they want to do. They're wearing bomb shorts, they're traveling, they're going half naked. And only the teenagers left in Nigeria are the ones we are still holding. Because that's what these young kids are struggling. That's what young people are struggling with. They see it. Then in the past, we weren't exposed to that lifestyle. So we just felt whatever your mommy tells you, that's it. But the kids are having options. So sex romp is bad.
Yes.
But the truth is, these kids will think, what's the big deal?
Okay, so it's not new. I love that Mario said that, because between 18 years ago and 15 years ago, I had a 3-year gap where I was doing secondary school sex education tour, had Prince Always materials, and we're going around. I visited over 20 secondary schools within Festa, Kamu-Wodofin area, and I engaged with teenagers back then, and they were doing all sorts. They were not even boarding school. That means these things already happened. So we're just seeing it play out on a different scale. About 8 years ago, I saw someone that, one of my makeup, I was doing makeup for a client who, the child was coming to GZM that one of our students, my classmates, got pregnant. And these are in junior secondary school. So I think that it's important that we realize that schools would not train our children for us. The school, because many parents feel like the school should, when I put my child in the school is responsible. Even when I read the article, in the language of the parents, they felt the school has failed us, the school did not have a system. Well, the school too is saying, parents, you have failed us because you didn't raise your children well, and they have come to pollute other good children within our school. As long as we're trading blames, we will not solve the problem. The problem is that some children are already wild. They have experiences, and they come to school and they are looking for how to continue the habits they've inculcated over time, and they will recruit people to do that. So the blame is on both parents as well as the school, because the school shouldn't give them any room. But the school responded that they were able to checkmate this thing. They found that some children were not in their rooms. They investigated and found they were in hotels, and they caught them in the hotel and reported the situation, expelled the people that were pregnant and the person that impregnated the girl, allowed them to come and write the exam. The school has done their best. Let us all, as parents, pay attention to how we
accept responsibility.
Yes, accountable.
Yeah.
Need to be
But let me go on a
accountable.
break, because Mariam said something that I would like us to happen. It's not new. Now, if it's not new, those who have done it ahead, those boys that used to jump skills, those girls that got pregnant, where are they? What are they doing today? I'd like to hear from them today. Were they mistakes, or was it a phase in your life that you moved on? I would like to hear from you. Let's go on a break. We'll be right back.
Thank you. Amazing.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So before the break, I was saying that many of us are saying this has happened before. And those of us that are now grown up that did these things, I would like to hear from you. You can call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-7696-948. You can also tweet us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. You're going to say something, Nima.
Yes, we are there now. You know, most of the people who went to school together, even I escaped all the adventures we tried to do. It was damaging for some. I remember a classmate of mine in GS3 had her videos with her boyfriend. She had spread around Festac and she was being blackmailed. It took the intervention of her mom and she was pregnant, she had aborted. She was all mentally scattered. She was suicidal at the time they found her. Somebody had to come in from family, take her to the US, and that's how I know it ended for her. I know she's doing well. But there was some that, tried to abort a pregnancy from this kind of adventures in school who died. That experience, the entire set, 99 sets from my class, remember that experience in our SS1 when it was announced that our classmate tried to have an abortion. They brought the boy from my class and she had died. So some of these things we think you wait through it and
but somebody
look
could
back.
have recorded that sex romp now and have the video. Even
That
janitor
poor girl
could have recorded something and kept it for ransom in future. You never know.
They will put it in one cassette and they will play it and then they will threaten her to steal from home. They got her pregnant. They gang raped her. These things are crazy. And when the first person that found her was like, this girl is pregnant. She's loose. It took me a while processing that. Me too, I have friends, so I could be anywhere. So we were very careful to walk around. We're afraid we could not try things that we wanted to do, some of the things we wanted to do for fear of this kind of consequence. But some people, it slowed down their life out of fear. For some, it ended their lives. A lot of things happen in school. So we need to take these things more seriously. And I don't want to blame any school in this. Because the administrators, like Tope said, they did what they did as administrators. They are not the parents of these children. But as administrators, people in whose care the children were in, they found out they were going somewhere, they found out where they were going, they got them, and there were consequences. But the parents of those children, how pained are you about how
the principal, Mrs. Tofumi Akamo, was saying, that they did a roll call, and then the fact that they went to the hotel was the first time it happened, but they've always jumped school for one thing or the other. But that hotel too,
that
taking
children.
Underage children as customers, they should be shut down.
You see the size of children these days.
Let me take this call from Bumi. We'll come to that. Good morning, Bumi. Are you there?
Good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. Thank you. Good morning, ladies.
Morning. Okay.
Good morning.
Okay, the thing is this. Hotels would not really know if, because these children are closed down, the way they would not even know that they are not there now. Also, but I thank God that parents choose to be watching this kind of program because they should know that the child cannot really do what you want them to do. These children already post a lot of things, watching all of those and they want to experiment. And they will definitely inspire home children in school. So watch out for that. I have another sister that she's not around now, very good. But she actually was doing, she fell for this kind of thing. She would do school, I get peer pressure.
I'm having trouble hearing you, Umi. I don't know if our viewers can hear her.
I heard a bit of what she was saying, which
so
is that children look a lot bigger nowadays, and they look really mature.
There's something called ID now. Before you go enter a hotel, won't they ask for your ID or driver's license or something?
They can fake these things, They really can. These children want to do what they want to do. They can fake it.
And then there are cheap hotels everywhere.
Yes,
there was one I saw in Mibutimeta when my father-in-law was down. We needed a place to sleep at night, and the people I saw walking around, they were not adults. It was normal. They were already on different substances. And I kept saying to my husband, I can't stay in this place. This is a Yahoo kind of hotel. I can't stay. And it was a full 4 floors hotel.
Wow.
The managers know these things. They know the...
they don't care about...
The parents should ensure the police shut down that hotel.
The
it's
school.
extremely important. The school. Yeah. They must shut down that hotel.
I feel that as parents, when we hear stories like this, a lot of parents get worried. Like, hey, I hope I'm doing the right thing. I hope I'm raising my children right. And just conversations around it. I think that when we talk about parenting, it's a tough journey because you're raising different personalities. Some children respond to being caged and prevented from being exposed. Some children respond well to being exposed and they're saying, I'm not still going to do, I've seen it all, I'm not going to do. So it's finding that balance, a lot of prayer. But my own template has always been that when you don't know, like people put age limits on some movies for reasons.
Yes.
People put age limits on social media for reasons. Don't put your children, your 5-year-old child shouldn't have a phone and be on TikTok. If your 10-year-old children it's because you can't control what they will see. I see things on Instagram and like, no, my children will be looking at me like, the reason I don't let you see because I can swipe away. You might just see and you're glued to, and because you'll be curious and you're looking over and over again. We have a responsibility to measure what we are exposing our children to and let them understand the reason we are measuring it so that there are things that you shouldn't see and this is why you shouldn't see it. because if not, they will feel like they are exposed to these things. They see people doing it, and they will also might want to experiment.
This thing called parenting is such a difficult thing.
It is. I have a question, and do we have more children misbehaving, or are we just more aware of, we've always had a child in a, bad
I think it's more now.
No.
I think it's more now.
See, do we have, like, let's say in a class, you have a child, 2 children, or a group of kids that are, the bad eggs. Are we saying that when we're going to schools now, are we going to say that there are more bad eggs than good eggs in the class?
I think there are more now.
Or more bad eggs than good eggs in our society or in our churches? You mentioned that our children are exposed to a lot of information. You see, that's the age, this particular age, that is what they have.
The information age.
Yes, that's the information age. They have a lot of that. But as parents, it should not... It means more work for us.
Yes.
It means we need to be part of their growing up. We need to be raising them, understand, see what it is that they're exposed to, and help to guide them. The mistake some of us are making is because they have so much information, they'll say something to us like, oh, how smart. And then we think that they're smart in everything. They just have more information on something. It's their age. They're lucky to have that. But they're not smart in every other thing. Someone put up a tweet here, and I feel we should, talk about that. It says, funny how parents would leave their words during break. No interaction, no feedback. Aside from report cards, do you test their spirituality, morals, and their level of exposure? So your child may be smart in books, but morally, are you sitting with your child and figuring out how they are thinking? When they are telling you about their interactions with other people, what steps do they take? What decisions do they take? And do we correct that? Is it just enough for the child to be the star player in class,
It's very... You see why I agree that, there are more of these things now. At today's parents were building tougher people. So your no could be your no. Your friends peer pressure would come, but you can't waive it. But now kids think those things we considered peer pressure then were normal. And culturally, we have become a society of take it like that. Yahoo is popular now. Drugs are popular now. When youth sit down, they talk about it's hip, it's hop, it's hype. Those days, it was the right to speak pidgin that was hip and hop. Yeah. But now, the thing that is hip, hop, and everything now is something...
Crime and drugs.
Something, frightening for me. I can only... That the kids are on certain kinds of drugs... It's frightening. And a child that cannot control themselves, that are intoxicated, they will do things that they will be more ashamed of when they get back to reality. And so we are in an age that is worse. Right. Parenting now is tougher.
It's tougher.
And so that worry-what mother that will come to school out of a due dates and time when he's not visiting there and all of that is the kind of parent somebody should be today.
That's the kind of you do. Let me take Olaide from Ojodu. Good morning, Ojodu. Olaide, are you there?
Yeah, good morning.
You're live.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Oh, wonderful. You know why that happens now is that way back when we were in school then, there are more of a boarding students. The boys will be separated and the girls will be separated. And people will come from health centers, do series of tests, pregnancy tests, and we dare not go home and tell our parents. But anyone they discover anything then, they will still call them at times, which we don't know what happened, but those things are no more. But what I discover now is that most parents we have today, they are untrained. You discover your children are under you, you don't even know what is going on. All you do is spend the money for schools, they come back to the house, the driver will bring them. But if I wish the community, the church, the mosque, educate the parents of nowadays. There's no parenting, no caring, everybody is just having children. There are some musicians, sorry, I won't mention their name. They are like even looking at them. What kind of child do they have in community?
I beg to differ because I want to believe that a lot of parents do try because nobody will. I don't want to believe that people have children without wanting to raise them properly. They have the intention to raise the kids, but raising teenagers is a whole different ball game. I have a friend, Timmy Onabulu, was telling me, a child is so much older than mine. He said, Mariah, this age that they're in, enjoy it too, because when you get to that teenage level, it's a whole nother ball game. Because what the teenagers are faced with Easy for us to say now, but they are constantly, because you as a parent have to face the reality that these children have this information. How would you help them to interpret it at the face of peer pressure? So what their friends are telling them is one thing, you are saying one thing, the church is saying another thing, and they're thinking, how do I decipher? How do I decide? These are conversations we should have. So we must be willing to let go of some things. But we'll take this when we come back after the break. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So before the break, I was saying that raising teenagers is a whole nother ballgame. You know, when you're in that 3 to 10 range, you're still the preteen. Is like your last phase before you now enter that teen age. And once they enter that teen, the whole it's different. Now, I don't have a teenager just yet, but I have a preteen, and you know she's all of attitude and behavior, and I'm thinking to myself, what's wrong with this girl? But when her father starts to shout, I get upset. But sometimes, hey, I appreciate the shout, you know, because I realize that heavy-handedness, they need a sandwich, they need that, and they need me, they need that balance of it. So it's good, because even just yesterday, the kids wanted to have a sleepover, because we don't allow sleepovers. It's a standard rule, no sleepovers or anywhere. But their cousins are just next door, and they just wanted to sleep over. And the kids, because are going out, it's cousin is just cousin. It's like our house. So they're begging. They told me, "It's not a problem." Daddy was like, lie with the rules. I said, it's not just ordinary sleepover. But he was insisting no. When I was trying to say, please, I was begging him to allow. He now called me aside and told me the reasons why he said no. I understood. He's put his foot down. If we start it now, they will continue to ask, you know. But eventually he allowed. But because it was after I understood, and I understood where it was coming from, and we don't lose it. And I told the girl, we allow, because it's just your cousin, just this once. But that's it. You know, it's clear. But you see, now the question therefore is, do we need that high-handedness? Because many of us are learning from coaches. Don't shout at these children. They allow them, give them stuff, you know, speak to them. You have to conversation, have your friends with them. And some are saying, no, I don't want to be your friend. I want to be your parent. I must continually be your parent. So how do we find that balance in the high-handedness and also understanding these children?
As a teenager, I had a sheltered upbringing. I saw the love my parents gave me. I saw some beating in my life that I call resetting. I cannot forget those beatings. Whenever I was
Will that work today?
It worked it worked for me. So whenever I wanted to do something with my parents, I remember one beach outing. My parents had gone on Hajj. They were not even around. My parents traveled together whenever I was out of the country. And they went for Hajj together. No mommy, no daddy, only neighbors watching me. Me and my friend, we had schemed this beach outing nicely. The day she was coming, it was a Friday. It's the holiness of Friday that changed my mind. I was wearing my full Friday clothes. I did all my pre-Juma service rituals. I went to mosque and she was like, I've been waiting for you. We wanted to go before 2. I said, see, today is Friday. I know they sin on Friday. I cannot follow you. And that was how I did not go to that beach. The people that went and came back, they came with different kinds of stories. I kept thanking God. I did not join. Because my parents were not around. Sometimes we overlove. The love is in our heart. I cannot even doubt the love my parents had for me. But those beatings, they were necessary for me.
So you say somebody that goes to Ijaniki, Ijaniki is a school that is federal government. So would you think it's a mixture? I mean, I'll come to you. I want to hear what you do. Let me take this call. I'll come to you. Good morning, Jubril from Warri.
Yeah, good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Sure. Well, I attended the federal government college somewhere.
That was back then.
So, that's between 75 and 80. And I must confess, I took part in jumping the fence.
Hey,
What?
First jumping the fence.
Okay, thank you.
What spurred us to do such things was every Saturday we do have what we call discos. So we needed to buy palm wine somewhere. Are you getting me?
Yes.
So we go, we buy palm wine, but if you are caught, you are expelled.
Okay.
It's so simple. But girls do not take part in such things.
Okay.
Girls do not take part in such things, to be sincere. But also, I must confess, there are also issues of sex issues inside the compound.
So did you? So you that you're jumping first to drink palm wine, did you also engage in sexual activities with two girls?
No, no girls follow us out now.
Yeah, but there are girls outside now.
No. We're so young by then. You see, the major influence there was that. The major influence was that we had bigger guys from other parts of the country. They were so big, they are matured.
Right.
So they teach us
All right.
some of these things.
All right. Thank you so much, Jibril. Yes,
So I wanted to say that it's so true love disciplines. It's not about beating, it's about boundaries. It is extremely important that you love. I've said it to them, I say, I cannot love you so much that you give a car. That I really, really love you. Go and drive the car, and you are 10-year-old. That's not love. That's not love at all.
that's attempted murder.
If I really love you, I will love you so much, I won't let you. They were begging me for drinks at my brother's party. I said, you've had 2. Your stomach will pain you. That is love. I love you enough to know that you having so much would lead to you purging. You cannot have more. It is important as parents to be able to know, I am old enough to know what is good for you. This is not good for you. It will look attractive, but it is not. Creating boundaries. What your husband did was to set boundaries. Sleeping over is where you will watch what I don't want you to watch. And you will see what I don't want you to see. Or they will touch what I don't want them to touch. Sleeping over, you are out of my control. I need to be really, really sure.
Protection.
So I am putting boundaries in place so that my eyes are on. And I think that it is important for parents to put boundaries. Many people don't understand where to set the line, and we all feel like it is by beating. For my children, I don't need to. If I don't need to beat you to punish you. If I collect your laptop, they will cry more than my beating. Because when they wake up in the morning, they wake up and go to the laptop, open it. When I collect your games, it is more painful than beating. So I understand what you love. I deprive you of it. That is discipline.
Let me take this call from Charity. I'll come to you, Mariam. Charity calling from Bagada. You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning, Muriah.
Morning.
I'm a great fan of your view.
Thank you.
And I love what you people are doing.
Thank you.
So my contribution is that parents need to be very, very careful. Very, very careful, Muriah. I was driving out one day and I saw these children, very primary school children, and they were watching something in the phone, laughing and making some body reactions. I had to stop my car and I called one of them. Maybe they saw me, they ran with the phone. But I was able to talk to one of the children and I asked her, I said, what are you people watching? She was just laughing. She couldn't tell me. I said, who gave you the phone? She said, it's my mommy's phone. I said, so why did you take your mommy's phone to school? And she was just looking at me. I'm very sure they were watching something they were not supposed to be watching. Because when they saw me, maybe I stopped asking them, what are you people watching? They ran. 3 of them ran with the phone. Only one stood. And I was asking them, what are you people watching? She was watching. She was just looking at me. She couldn't say anything. So parents, please, be very careful with your children, even when you release your post.
Thank you, Charity. Mariam, when they say be careful, I mean, I always say, how careful? Can you really be careful? Their kids are smarter. They know when to change the pages. They know when to delete all the passwords. How careful can a parent really be?
I like where you said they know how to change everything. I will never forget during that COVID year when my kids were doing school online. And I would, do like spot check. And I'll check my son's. He will look too excited. When they're in front of the screen and they're not doing schoolwork, there's a different demeanor. I will check. I will say anything. Then his sister calls me to the side and says, check is it his deleted log or something like that? His recently deleted log or something. She was like, just check his recently. Then you will know for sure. So the truth is, we're not God. We're not omnipresent. We can't be everywhere. Yeah. So we're hoping that what we teach you would take, you would remember it. But also, we need to understand that our children are not saints. We were not saints ourselves. So no matter how much we teach them and correct them, they will make some of these mistakes themselves. We talk about smoking. I'm not a smoker today, but I remember as a child, pre-teen, not a teenager, the neighborhood children, especially my grandma's house, they would take pieces of paper and, do the smoking. And I would do it, but I knew to end it, because the fear of my mother is the beginning of wisdom. Yeah. Do you understand? And the way we're saying that we're raising our children now, where it seems to a lot of the old school, like we're being too laid back or we're being lazy, is because for some of us, we didn't know that we could have some conversations with our parents about things. So for me, the reason why I'm doing my own parenting a bit differently is that I remember as a child that there were some things I could not discuss with my parents. And I feel that if I could have at that time, it would save me a lot of issues. There's so many things out in the world. There's a way an adult will even speak to you, but because you don't think you have that relationship where you can say everything to your parents, they treat you anyhow, and you know, anyhow things happen. But I'm hoping that the way I'm raising my children is saying to them, this place is a free zone for us to have a conversation. And if I have that conversation, then I know what you're facing outside or what it is that you're dealing with. So that parenting of not constantly beating is not because, oh no, I don't want to hurt my child. Is that for situations where they are confused about something, they're not sure about something, that you be the adults that they come to, that they don't go and meet another adult who has, you know, unscrupulous adults who don't care about the well-being of your child to teach them all sorts of things. So for me is, how do I develop a relationship with my child that my child does not only see me as this disciplinarian of a mother, but also a friend that I can speak with?
Let me take this call from Matthew. Matthew's calling from Ikeja. Are you there? You're live.
Yes, good morning.
Morning.
Are you a fence jumping?
Yes, I would like to contribute to this.
Yes, go ahead.
This thing is not new. It's not new. I remember back in my class before when we were secondary school, I was like 20 then. That's boys only, at Parental college. People were practicing all this boys to boys. You know, that's when hormones start growing and the girls are in puberty and all that. So now that we are in they see a lot of things online. They want to practice all these things. So it's not new. It's just left for our parents to do on to educate these children.
Thank you, Matthew. See, I think of, you said something, mistakes, and I like to hold on to. Are our children allowed to make mistakes? So sometimes we raise these kids the best. We follow the rules. We talk to them. We have a bit of high-handedness here. We shout here. We hug them. We love them. We do everything in the books. You have a pastoral influence. You have a teacher influence. You are the PTA chairman. You've done everything. But yet, this child does something. He's 14 years old, gets involved in a sex romp and gets pregnant. We saw T.D. Jake's daughter get pregnant as a teenager. Today, she's a pastor. So my question is, are Nigerian children allowed to make mistakes? Do we also accept their mistakes? That even though after everything has been done right, if you do get involved in this, do they still find succor in not just the Nigerian system, but in their parents, in family? There is still a support system to say, even after all has been said and done, you are still my child. You still have love. I still care for you. You are still there. Do we have the accommodation for that in this country? Because sometimes we don't. We throw them away, and we throw them with the bathwater, and the kids feel they've now find their feet in future, and they can't find a way to travel. But we shame them so much.
Parents that you face the consequence of an action you did, mistake or not, doesn't mean you don't love the child. So, well, that's how I grew, and that's what I do for my kids. And I don't know, maybe it's made seeming here that I just beat. No, it's a consequence. If I tell you, my kids, I bought at least 13 tabs for my kids. If you break a gadget in my house, you don't get beaten. It's a thing, it's a material thing. But if you lie, I can sit on you and be beating you all day.
She sits on you.
It's a different thing. Yeah. The consequence for everything is different.
Yes.
In my mother's kitchen, if you break a plate or you spoil, nothing happens.
Yeah, same here.
It's not a big deal. But if you and your friend go and do one thing, they catch you somewhere, my mom, you will get the consequence of it. Yeah. And even you, because you know it, you don't want to dare it. You don't. My dad would sit you down. My father is not a beating person, so he would sit you down and say, if you do this thing, it will hurt me to my bone.
Yeah.
I grew up thinking, I don't want to ever see this man hurt. Different ways, but let the child understand that this will be the consequence of this. My mom was a constant beater. Even to some of the beating, I just want to dodge it. I have marks. I will say, hey, this woman will kill me today. I don't die. I will not dare it. We knew the consequence of actions. We stayed off such actions. We don't want to get in trouble and finish. And I remember my parents saying to me, you're so bad in maths. If you don't pass maths in your Wike, I think you will have problem with maths all your life. Does that sentence, I sat on maths. I had one small jotter. I call it a maths dictionary. All the formulas in this world, I wrote them down. Yeah. And I lost it a day to the exam. and it almost destabilized me, but I was able to pass through.
So let us
that.
bring
So
this conversation
put
back
consequence to things.
this thing. So we've talked about parenting, we talked about the hotel, we talked about the school. You send a child to boarding house. We've not discussed the factors of boarding house. What are those things that we should have? Because we shouldn't totally, completely absolve the school. The school also has a responsibility. Yes, parenting is the foundation. Is who I send to you. But also, that child I sent to you, I have a friend, Morenike was saying that the problem she has with boarding school is that if you're going to be boarding, be fully boarding. You're going to be day, fully day, because I don't want you to tell me that the children from day that are influencing the children from boarding. If you want to tell me, take my child to full boarding, you're in care with everybody there is under your care. And you as a parent, you as a teacher, you take responsibility for my child. Don't tell me it was a child that came from this school then that brought one thing. Like, no. So in this situation, you can limit the external influence. If I day, you are day. I know you are day. So it depends on how you look at it. But the point is that let's bring it all together.
Let me tell you, let me give you one. It's a mini example. When my son was in primary school, when I go to pick him up, he would come out, shirt is flying, whatever. We started from, I would, try to talk it in. After a while, I would insist, and then realize he was not getting it. So we make a show in the school compound about the way he looks. Then I now noticed that when I call, eventually, I would see he had done it. I would, you're looking at it today. What happened? You didn't play it. He said, when they told me you were coming, I just stopped and talked to him because he did not want my wahala. Because I realized I had to embarrass him. Now he's in secondary school, and I pick him up, and he's scattered everywhere. And I know, yes, I don't know if it's influence, but it's just that I'm not there to insist. And so my own is, I know the school will say, oh, well, you are supposed to put in the values. But my own is that as the school, you're supposed to continue to insist. Because if a child can do it on their own anyway, then why do I need you? Why do I need parents? Why do I need teachers?
The complacency of the school.
Yes, I need the teacher, the school to continue where I've stopped. I'm hoping that my values are so important, and the same with the school, that they will insist on doing that. So the thing is, so for me, that's just mini. It's not a character flaw, and I'm constantly working on it. But when we are putting our children in schools, we have to look beyond the infrastructure. We have to look beyond, what it feels like to say, my child is in this particular school. What are the values of these schools and their teachers? What is it that's important to this
Let me take this call
school?
From Shola from Ikorodu. Are you there?
Hello.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Good morning to everyone in the studio. Yeah, this is a very sensitive and interesting topic. But I must say this, like every one of you have been saying over there, the responsibility lies on the parents. And when I said responsibility lies on the parents, the major of the responsibility should be on the mother, even though the father has to be part of it. Because if you are having a daughter, there's a limit that you can have access to her privacy. Even though the children will still go out and be influenced by the kind of the people they mingle with, the kind of the people they surround themselves with. Like I have a story, I don't know if I have the time to share this story with you. I have daughters. Yeah. I'm a pastor by the grace of God. My daughter, the way we brought them up, we trained them sexually, but I don't know what this guy in the church, it's like the choir head, in fact, is in charge of the drum. He brainwashed my daughter. I don't know how it gets to that extent. To the extent that one day, because we stay in the church environment, one day we were going out with the mother, but I am not comfortable leaving that topic. I said, look, I'm not comfortable. I'm not comfortable. Let this child, let me not go. After we left, something happened. If not the grace of God and my daughter's junior brother and sister that came to rescue.
Oh, yeah, we got to call him back.
We have to.
We have to call Mr. Shola back. I think we got disconnected. We can try to call him back. What was the purpose? I lost
Yeah, so he's trying to say, okay, he's talking about the fact that he's a pastor. So to give us like a background of how he's raised his daughters, but it seems that someone in church, imagine being a pastor and having your child being in church and then have someone in church be a bad influence on the child. He didn't get to finish. You know how that betrayal, like, I've done everything. I'm a pastor.
Yeah.
And then the choir leader.
That's what I keep saying.
Yes.
No,
That's
but
why I
he's
keep
also
saying
said
that.
something. I've read so many books on parenting,
Parenting.
watch parenting,
Yeah.
course that
You can't know
a
baseball
father's
and not know
role-
about parenting.
A father's role you cannot say it's
cannot be
a
undermined,
woman.
yeah.
You can't say the mother
Most
should help.
life-changing is the father.
He's the father. I was telling my husband, I struggle to get my children to eat. When Mark puts the food on the table, all of them
everybody-
finish the food.
Yeah.
If he says lay the bed, everybody lays it well.
Yes.
I will be dragging them, lay it. But and it's not with them as such. But when he says it, they do it.
comes in.
And I'm wondering, like, I'm the one you people come and meet for everything.
Everything,
But
yes.
I say you to do something, I'll be
They-
dragging you to do it. Your daddy will just say it once and you do it. Here is the thing. A father's role is very important. And in Africa, many men feel like it's a woman that raises the children. What we are missing is the role of a father in child raising. You need to step in there. See many well-developed, well-rounded children as adults. They will tell you their father.
Yeah.
My father was
Amanda
always
talked
there.
about her
My father
father.
is always there.
You're
My father
right.
said this. My father, it helps.
Yeah.
I always say that
Shola is back.
we go through that journey.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, good.
Shola is
Please,
back.
let's
Shola, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, she was saying, so the
Please,
influence...
to hear that
like
story.
like I was saying, so I was not comfortable to leave that environment that very day, and my wife was not comfortable, as if something strange is going to happen. But eventually, we left. Then when we came back, what we met was not really honestly comfortable. But we thank God that God rescued that situation. Do you know this guy brainwashed my daughter, took her to their house? He was about to define her. He has removed her clothes when the junior brother of my daughter came to the cell and said, he shouted that almost everybody in that area was asking what was going on. That God using that very day to rescue the situation.
How old was your daughter? How old is your daughter, actually?
Then she was about 16.
15.
At the time.
Then, that was about 3 or 4 years ago. She was, by this year, April, she's going to clock 20. But as I'm telling you, by the grace of God, she's still a virgin. Even our senior sister. When this thing happened, she came, because she was not staying with us, she came and said, look, even when daddy was suspecting me that time, she was about 20 plus. Say, I was still a virgin then, and you want to define yourself at the age of 16. By the grace of God, today, she's still a virgin. You know why I'm saying so is that because she wanted to go.
That's even a pastor.
Thank you, Pastor Shola. I mean,
But let's go to that
16 is
No, 16
fully,
is a baby.
she's a baby, but she's also fully fixed.
Murayo, you said something about how we forgive when things happen. And it takes a lot. Many things that what happens in Nigeria in most cases is we actually send the children into, we take them from, they are in fry pan, we don't throw them into fire. A child has committed something that you feel is this terrible thing. She got pregnant. Pregnancy, I say they catch them. Plenty people they do. Now, person when they catch, now get belly because some people will do abortion and you will never even know they got pregnant. So when these things happen, I always play back what happened with TD Jakes and how the kind of acceptance and love he gave to that woman, the woman now, then a 13-year-old pregnant girl, is what made that girl become who he is today. We need to start telling people, stop abandoning your child or your children. Your child gets into drug, don't abandon. He gets pregnant, don't abandon. You failed the exam, don't abandon. Don't shame to the point where the child will feel like suicide is the way to escape. Really disappoint this. I don't want to disappoint my parents. Let me commit suicide. Let us love.
Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll take more phone calls and messages on social media. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Okay, so we're going to take a few comments on social media. I have a press release actually from Toun Aderele, Global President of the Federal Government College, Ijaniki, I believe, and she was just saying that Punch actually got unreliable information from unreliable sources, according to what we're saying. So she was saying, the person was pretty much saying that the school manual was taking out a random exercise of this checking the children to see if, just to curb excesses. And that's where they found that these kids were not in school. And then they put pressure, they called the parents said the kids are not around, they called the police, they called the authorities. That's when one of the children now confessed and said they're in the hotel. So it wasn't as if the school was totally negligent. So we agree, we understand that the school cannot be held culpable alone. But however, because there are rules, they still left outside without being noticed. That's also
that means that the school did not.
There doesn't
their eyes won.
deterrent for them to do that. That's one thing. But the parents also are also guilty. But let's take any comments from social media. But I see they're trying to absolve the school because according to them, the school actually put a lot of measures in place to protect the children, which is not.
Assessment is done every day now. You're supposed to call roll call every day. So you're supposed to know if somebody is not in class.
But the children know the time that you do roll call. So this check was done when the students didn't expect it. Bolua, okay.
Kaspeki says, don't blame busy parents, those who work a lot to pay school fees and cater for their kids by paying helps and all that. Truth is, kids from disadvantaged homes would switch places for that. Picking when one spoil, go spoil. T.P. Ngwa says, some of us parents are not religious. I don't do rods. I wasn't beaten by my parents. Children have to be monitored and appraised constantly. If found culpable, the right punishment should be meted. Bilikis Mafe says, what I know is that no parents should be complacent. You cannot raise this generation of children the way we were raised. Yes. There are too many influences within and outside the home.
True. Oluwatito Ayodele says, the truth of the matter is, as parents, there's only so much we can do. We can advise, correct, instruct, guide, but the decision to be better or worse still rests on the children. That's why sometimes the children of the most religious people commit the most heinous crimes.
This still written from Toon Aderele. She's saying that there have been occasions where parents come to school to threaten the principal and management for taking necessary disciplinary measures where their children have been badly behaved. The management of the school has been swift in dealing with this. So this global president of they're trying to defend the school.
I think that's the alumni president.
Possibly the alumni, but...
Babadi says the truth is we pamper our children too much. I remember during my teenage age, when our parents talk to us with mere eye contact. But when we talk to them these days, you hear, Mommy, Daddy, why are you staring at me like that?
My children can read eye. Our children...
Let me take a day from
London. It depends on the age.
No, my son cannot. Yeah. Mommy, what's in your eye?
No, it's still small.
Good morning, yes.
Morning,
can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Students have been running away from hostel for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
No, we today.
I remember I was in Mexico Cinema nightclub in 1972. And there are schools in Obali Koroko Pastor Academy. They would call in the night. At that time, 1972, Metro Cinema this bad.
The network is really bad.
Then they would come here.
Go ahead.
Mariah is really cleaning this.
They are telling me that my case is not dirty.
It's not dirty, it's the color.
Go ahead.
Okay, so Olajide Balogun says, as far back as 97, during the Abacha years, my boarding secondary school mates pulled this move. They camped themselves at Sheraton, Abuja. The ringleader happened to be a son of a top public officials. Morals have been torn to shreds. So, you know, he's right about these are things that have happened. But, you know, we used to know then, we would say, the bad children. You know, we'll make an example of them. And then, the parents will say to us, these are bad children, I don't want you to be like them. I think there's a part we need to understand that as children, when you're a child, you look at these people as the cool ones. So that's why it's important for parents to be able to be a friend, to remind a child that being cool does not mean doing those things. It has its consequences. It has negative repercussions.
They made one advert. I think government too is laxing. There was one advert that ran during the HIV
those things don't really
when they were saying zip up, and they said it was not just because everybody is doing it does not make it cool.
Yeah.
Some of those words,
those are they have exposure then.
No,
they
but
we saw them. They were adverts.
But
today we need sat in your head. There was one
in their own language. In their own language, we need to find that kind of message for them.
I want to quickly say something. I think that we are trending negatives a lot. People who are naked are getting likes and views. people who do silly things, people who do reprehensible things.
Can you remove that from society? You can't.
Getting a lot of support. And it is the same people that are complaining, like we, the good people of Nigeria, we, the good parents that want to raise amazing children, are the ones that are going to like and love and comment on those negative vices pages. So we must understand that visiting, even when you think you are viewing it with disdain, that view is counting as millions of views. So whether you are watching it with disdain or watching it with negative, you're viewing it is giving them more popularity.
But we cannot.
People do see, you know how many things, I can't remember, I don't remember names.
I know,
online, you just see them.
remove those things.
A lot of cross-dressers now is now the thing, and they just blow overnight because you are cross-dressing. Who is looking at the cross-dressers? We don't say we are not supporting it, but we are looking at it. So we are giving credence and support to anybody to do any silly thing to trend. Let us begin to understand that our action has consequences, whether we like it or not.
Let me take this call from Bidemi. Good morning. Are you there, Bidemi?
Good morning, Mariah.
You're live.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Yeah. Concerning the topic people are discussing, it's very important, and I want to talk about my own son. I'm a peer educator, and I have this son that is so out there. But I try my best to make sure I check on him. But the thing is, you cannot control the children that they are going to mix up with in school.
Exactly.
My children attend a missionary school that they have a lot of don't. But these children still find a way to go out to do those things. Recently, I discovered my son used to go and play PS outside with his friends. He would rather go out and go and play with his friends than in the house. I said, okay. I went to report. Initially, I didn't report to the school authority. I called the whole children, and I warned them, his friends, and they were all frustrated. Sorry, I won't do it again. Sorry, I won't. Because they will come back home late. I was the only parent that noticed it amongst about 10 of them.
Wow.
No.
The next time they did it again, I went to report to the principal personally that this is the habit my son has picked up. And he's been with some other children. Normally, they are supposed to suspend or expel them, but because I was the one that came to report. Until today, those other parents still don't know that this is what their children are doing. So at times, when they want to go and do all those things, they tell my son, don't follow us, your mommy will come and report.
Thank you very much, Bidemi. Let me take this message. Thank you very much, Bidemi, for that. This is one of the messages I've been looking for. Hi, Mariah. I won't mention his name. He says that, yes, I was one of those teenagers that had sex in school and jumped fence.
Yes.
We did it for the fun of it, not because we wanted to get anything out of it. We wanted to just have the experience, and there were some girls that were willing to give it to us. Today, I have my regrets. I don't know what's ever happened to the girls, but I didn't get anybody pregnant. But I was one of those that did. So there are adults today saying that, yes, we did it. They were just doing it for the fun of it. He didn't tell us where his first sexual encounter was. Was it pornography? Was it influence from family? Or just your body was just changing and you desperately just needed to express yourself. So these are the kind of conversation we like to have. We need to hear from these people. What happened? And so you can tell the teenagers today that what you went through and how you're able to get out of it, and maybe hopefully help them understand the need not to.
There are movies that our children watch, especially teenagers, and the movies glorify all these things that we call cool.
Drugs,
the sex, the drugs, the experiment, the hanging out with, whatever. And so you're feeding them this as they're physiologically getting to that stage. What do we expect? So that's another thing where we have to monitor. Is it monitor what our children do? That's one. Or also try and influence what our producers and production companies are doing when it has to do
I
messaging
agree with
for
production,
teenagers.
producers, we need to change it. But I also think we need to share our experiences. There is something that is just occurred to me now that I've never told my children about the close shaves I've had with abuse, or how I've seen how the impact of watching a sexually oriented movie can register in your mind. But I think that when we share our vulnerabilities, that me too, I have this, me too, I went through this, I have these urges or stuff like that, they are able to express themselves more with us when it comes up in their mind, or they would begin to look at it that maybe you're cool after all, or maybe like It's not so, but we also need to express ourselves to them.
I thought you wanted to say share as parents. Because,
Yeah.
you know, we judge as parents. So I might be dealing with one child different, and you have the experience.
The parents should...
Miriam has really saved my life with this common interest thing. Because I've been dealing with it. The moment I share vulnerability with my child, I did not know mass. The girl just thought, okay, I have more power than mommy, so I don't need all this book I'm reading. I really don't have to do so much. She survived it, so I can survive. And she lacked stuff. So sometimes not everything you share, but you know, what I would love is what my mom used to do. Everybody parented us. She would just come out and scream. This is what I'm dealing with this one. Was, that was what Stella did to me when I was raising her. Oh yeah, come here. And all the mothers were many. And so I just did not want to fail too many mothers. If it was one, maybe it would have been easy.
You know when you're saying share experience, I just remember, I was telling you during the break that my daughter and I were having this back and forth just recently. And I remember what I was asking her to do, to clean the house, because Auntie Blessing is not around. Your job is to sweep the floor. Since your cousins came around, you're not sweeping, you're not mopping anymore, you're just having fun. And I was trying to make her understand. So she was upset with me that I was insisting that she go wash the plates and everything. So just like when you said shared experience, and I remember that when I saw her attitude, and I called her, I said, I wash plate too. Because I can pay for Auntie Blessing to be around doesn't mean that I don't know how to wash plate. I have washed plates. I said, this is my brother's house that I lived in. I cleaned. I took the children to school. I bathed them. I take them to school. I pick them back from school. I cooked in the house. I washed. I shared my. I have done these things. I'm asking of you. It's just that God has blessed me now that I can afford for somebody to do for me in Nigeria. But there, I was doing it myself. So I'm not telling you to do something I've not done before. So but after then, she now apologized. Came back to me and said, Mommy, I'm sorry for being rude. But you see, when you share your experience sometimes, they realize that, okay, you're not forcing, you're not putting these rules and regulations on just as me. But I have been there, done that too. Let me take John that will come to us.
I want to address one
John from London, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Hi, Maria.
Hello.
Good
Morning.
Ladies, good morning. I just want to...
Hello, John, please, let's call him back. Is he there?
Okay.
We lost him.
Let me
Please,
take
I
this
think he
with
wanted to.
Honorable-
Because we need more men
Yes,
to call.
to
We
talk.
need to hear from you. So
This is a
please
man.
try to call John back.
Honorable Ademola Lalade says, no matter the amount of toughness parents adopt to checkmate their girl, a girl child, it's only God that can direct their path. But fathers really have a critical role to play in raising their children because they are the ones that make sure that those kids are well behaved. And that's the girl child thing is the one that paid me. I know a family where they had more girls and they were tough on the girls and lax on the boys. The boys got girls pregnant.
Ew.
And the girls that they were focusing on turned out good, according to their family standards. So what are we saying? When you left the boy, he was spoiling somebody else's girl. What are you saying? Children, raise your children with the same values, the same strong hand you have on your girl, have it on your boy.
I was thinking about it just now. Why you
It's
say
the
girl
same.
child? Me that I have three
Why-
boys.
Girl
So-
child, how now? That's how they almost kill all of us when we're growing up. Everybody was watching the girls, judging
leaving
the
the
girls,
boys.
and leaving the boys. As if, okay, what's the worst that can happen? The truth is that, yes, it was the girls who got pregnant and their names were the ones that the family thought would spoil their name. But the guys also brought their baggages.
And nowadays,
And
the
they spoiled
guys are
some
doing,
people's
a
homes.
lot of boys are into drugs.
Yes.
Drugs. Like, it is turning people crazy.
Under the influence.
It is under influence, yes. Under the
It's the
influence.
influence of the yes. Now they are
And they are going crazy. People are having mental issues. Children of the rich, of the middle class, of the poor,
everybody.
getting into psychiatrist hospitals. I don't think we know what is going on there. I mean, we never find out. But let us do our best to ensure that we are raising our men and women so that they don't fall into the cracks of the society.
Shola is from Ijaniki. I have another message here I'd like to take. Good morning, Shola. Are you there?
Good morning,
Alive.
Good morning, everybody. I'd like to contribute
Go
to
ahead,
this topic.
please.
I feel that parents cannot overdo themselves. The best we can do, seriously, is to train these children with love and with the iron hand. Thank God, Maria, that you have a strong husband and you are the one that runs them and all of that. We should have the balancing at home. These children are not supposed to feel that, okay, we love them and we pamper them. They will know in their hearts, Maria. These children should fear us. They fear their teachers. They fear other people. When they think they can push us around anyhow, they misbehave. The truth is that we cannot always predict what they will do outside. We can't always be there. But seriously, when we put God first and we do our best, at the point where they have to make decisions, we trust God that they will make the good decisions. I always tell my children, I have been in a very, very, very dear situation that even my parents, they should know that I've been with lecturers that they will show us this and that. I can even call some lecturers and I say to vigilance. And I will say, okay, it's better for me to leave this now than to do this with you. But I have friends that were doing it, and that was the phrase to that. For girls, it was sweetheart thing, not at all. So at that point, I was supposed to make my decisions. Which decisions did I make? I told myself I want to have a very friend that will sleep with us. I get married to their dad. And I stood with it, not because the parents would beat me, but because I had the fear of God and they're giving me morals already. So it wasn't the parents' death, it was your own.
Thank you so much, Shola. You know,
I want to agree with Shola.
when she said that fear, I wanted to talk.
No, I'm sure everybody heard it as fear. I mean, I'm sure she meant reverence. We all revered our parents. So we did not. There's a look of
My own husband
Baba.
says, I want them to fear me. And we keep having that fight.
No.
Like, you shouldn't fear. Why
My
would you
dad
want
has
to
a
children
best
to
friend.
fear you?
He's a
He said,
professor.
I'd rather you be the nice person. Let me be the one they are scared of.
My dad's best friend, was a professor. He's a professor in Ife. He's a pastor. He didn't beat his children, never. I don't think I ever heard of him beat his children. They revered him. The moment he's displeased about something, you say, child, I don't know. They want to do better. My dad applied the same, but my mom beat me. I fear him too. You understand? It's true, because it's reverence they mean. You can't treat your parents like your classmates.
Can you explain to me?
Me, I don't understand the fear.
Reverence.
The reverence, fear.
See,
Is respect.
what she's trying to say to you, she said they fear their school. So that's how I heard it.
Okay.
In school, they know when the principal is coming. They know the things they will cover, they will
So like
probably
Tokyo said,
behave.
it's make sure you put boundaries.
Boundaries.
In schools,
It's the same
tend to
thing
have,
now.
schools tend to have routines. They tend to have strict boundaries. You know where you are supposed to be at certain times. But most homes, you know, everything just goes, you wake up, blah, 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 until you get to school. And you are clear for a child. And I've heard this many times, that children do well when you set out a routine or their boundaries. Yeah. And it's clear for them when they're in school what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong.
And when
Let
they
me
think
do the dictionary definition of reverence.
Okay.
Reverence is deep respect for someone or something. So it's respect is different from fear.
Yes.
Yeah, two, so when we think
That's what I'm telling
I
you.
fear you, doesn't mean I can
Thank
respect
you.
you.
Yes, I can
But someone you
respect
don't respect, you don't see finish your parents. Some parents call it love now these days. They will enable a child to do certain things. No, that's what the world is doing now.
do you know what
And then the child just sees them like, is my mom?
Your
Is my mom
definition
that's
is
coming?
different.
No. It's that reverence, that deep respect.
We need to have a balance between these two.
We're Nigerianizing this love or this other way of parenting where we are not constantly hitting or beating
Yes,
our
you can
children.
discipline.
Let me just finish. It's just that we say love. We make it look like a weak thing. That's a parent that's not doing the right thing that they love. Fear me. Or when you say revere has to do with love.
Yes.
You love me so much that
me.
you will respect
You don't see her finish. Now,
We have conversation.
let me
We
speak
said-
pidgin.
we
English
said-
is a problem. Not see your parents finish.
Yes.
I don't know another English. Do you
And
want
it's
to
not by
know?
beating.
And it's
See
not
finish.
love, and it's not love that causes see finish.
Yes,
it's
it's
the lack
not.
of discipline.
If you
that
don't
causes
love
you.
right, see finish they come.
No.
When you think you are loving your child, you are
No.
giving your child too
No.
many things,
No.
you're taking out boundaries.
No.
The child will just see you finish.
Lack
You
of
see finish.
discipline is
Thank
what causes
you.
see finish.
Thank you.
Today, mommy says
And
yes.
I love the
Tomorrow,
common-
mommy says no. Today, mommy allowed me to go.
And you call it
love.
Inconsistent. There's no reason
That
to
is it.
respect you. The child does not respect you
And you call
because
love
you
now.
have not set the rules down. There are no discipline. There are no boundaries.
Thank you.
If you set boundaries and you're able to communicate to your
Easy,
children lovingly, without fear, without beating, they will still revere you. Let's not just make reverence and
I think we can
love
wrap
as
on
if it's a
that.
negative
the
word.
same thing with the talk. We dey talk the same thing.
My kids were
Don't
playing
overdo the
game. And I
love.
said, why are you playing? You're playing games. He said, Mommy, I've brushed my teeth. I've taken my bath. I've laid my bed. Because he knows you can't play games without brushing your teeth. And I don't have to beat. I didn't beat to enforce it. But for you to do this, there are rewards and consequences.
Okay.
Discipline is love.
Okay,
Let
let us
comments
close
for
with
your
this
honor.
tweet.
Yes.
Dolani Robert says, the standards of most unity schools are plummeted. Standards have been compromised. Senior boarding house masters, mistresses are no more committed. Very unfortunate. And this seems to be the narrative.
Any other
Across
comments?
our
We have
schools?
a few more seconds.
Roland says, greeting to you ladies. I think people are getting it wrong, blaming parents on the acts of their kids while in boarding school.
Yes, I
Let's
understand.
remember that our kids might be 100% monitored at home and no room for nonsense.
So that was a good one.
Boarding school is a different ballgame.
Okay, we have to wrap up. I think, Memi, as much as we've looked at different angles of this story, what is more important is that we have a relationship with our children such that they're able to tell us everything per time. Because when I said between that 3 and 10 years old. We still have them in our house. But from that pre-teen, they are experiencing, they are talking to people, they are looking forward to becoming teenagers. And once they become teenagers, they feel they have this kind of freedom of perspective, freedom of ability, freedom of everything, you know, and they just want to feel free. So there are different stages, and nobody knows it all. Nima always says you don't get a scorecard until you're finished. They've grown up. So let us continue to pray.
As you are talking to your child, pray for your child.
Pray.
Bless
So
their paths with good people.
And the child, you know, is the scorecard.
So let us just, and I hope that Ijaniki, I mean, this situation right now, it's clear that the school is on top of the situation. They're working with the police. They're ensuring that, I hope, we'd like to find out the name of the hotel, shut it down. Parents must know that these hotels must not function. If you can admit an underage into your hotel, you shouldn't be functioning at all in the first place. So that hotel must shut down. And parents also should also,
No, the school has said there's no pregnancy. The school has said that there was no pregnancy from that situation. Please.
That's the official
yes, officially.
story from the school. That's all we can take on today's topic. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.